love my kids.
Right, Andy, but they're going to be there for you.
I'm going to go away for a minimum 20, 30 years.
You don't know.
She has been manipulating me for 2 years. Every guy she could find.
This is Andrew Brunette, hunched in the interrogation room, realizing he's going to prison for a long time. Andrew shot and killed Garrett Macone, his ex-wife Devon's boyfriend. As the questioning intensifies, a chilling motive begins to surface, hinting at something far darker.
The message I got from him, I'm going to kill you and those kids the next time I see you. I'm telling him to just stop and fucking go away. Instead I just panicked, or I pulled the trigger, and I didn't want him to suffer, so I pulled it again.
It's a matter of time before the detectives uncover if Andrew Brunette is a jealous ex or a desperate father. As the case unfolds, a more sinister truth emerges, revealing the chilling reality behind his deadly actions.
Everything she's put me and them kids through, I hate her for it. I'll never go after her in the same manner, ever.
On September 20th, 2020 in Chetek, Wisconsin, Garrett Macone's mother found her son unresponsive with a trail of blood leading from inside the house. Without hesitation, she immediately called the police for urgent assistance.
I think he might be dead. I don't know. Okay, is he breathing? I don't feel a pulse, and there's blood from his head. Pardon me? Did he fall from somewhere? No, I don't know. I don't know. He's got a huge abrasion on the back of his head. Most of the blood is from his head.
Authorities confirmed that Garrett Macone had been shot in his bedroom. As the investigation progressed, suspicion quickly shifted to Andrew Brunette. He insisted he hadn't left St. Paul that night, claiming he was simply out to get food. However, investigators uncovered a different story, one that placed him in Chetek, Wisconsin at the time of the murder. His alibi crumbled, and with forensic evidence linking him to the scene, detectives had ample reason to bring him in.
Now that you're in jail, we have to read your rights.
I understand.
And then, so, let me just go through.
That black's kind of dope, though.
It's Andrew
Brunette, B-R-U.
Right, middle initial.
Oh, Joseph.
Okay, that's right.
Why do you keep calling me Andy?
Because your mom did. Do you like Andrew or Andy?
I prefer Andy.
What's your birth date again?
0428 1995.
0428
1995.
95. And it is 11/26 on September 20th. Well, we wanted to talk to you first.
How'd you guys know?
Just because there's a lot of evidence there, and
What did I leave?
yeah,
No, what did I leave?
We can't talk
about that yet.
You'll know. It'll
Right.
come out. It's
Right.
just that it doesn't typically work in the way that we give them.
No, I understand. I just...
So, what we'd like to know, Andy...
You want me to tell you why I did it, and I'll tell you exactly why I did it and how I did it.
But from that point, we'd like you to start at when you got to the hospital with your child out in Minnesota. Just tell us everything that she said and did and what you guys talked about, all the way down through what led you to drive down to Garrett's house.
She continued to talk about how great it is being with him and not being with me.
Hold on one second. I gotta be able to write a little bit.
I will slow myself down too.
All right.
My apologies.
So when you say, like what was she saying? Like, how was
She
she saying?
is convinced I'm like the worst person in the world, and I mean, I took a guy's life, or I'm pretty sure I'm shooting.
Why would she think that, though? I mean, it seems you're pretty dedicated to your kids.
She's not a very nice person. I mean...
No, she's not, but I love her. But, I mean...
There's nothing wrong with loving the mother of your children. That's the man thing to do.
It's like I already told you guys, what I told you guys about me getting that one under her, that's true. I wish it wasn't. That's true. And the reason I fell in love with her is because she gave me something no other woman could, and she gave me the ability to want to live. And that's the reason it's so hard for me to let go. And I wish I could just let go. While we were in the hospital, she just... I want to work things out with her, you know, be happy. Seeing her with him pissed me off, just for the sheer fact that he threatened to kill me and my kids. She wanted me to drop it, so I dropped it. She promised she would come back with me, and she didn't. So I lied to the judge, and I told her that I didn't believe that he was the one that said it, and in all reality, he ate me up inside because I know he's the one that said it. And then yesterday, last night, she talked about how much he wants to beat the out of me and come after me. And immediately the only thing I correlated with that was, yeah, he does. He wants to kill me, and he wants to kill my kids. So I took care of it.
And when you say you took care of it, what did you...
2 rounds in the back of the head, 9mm.
Andrew confesses almost immediately, but not without deflecting. It's only the beginning of the interrogation, and detectives already have a confession, though it comes at a cost. When Andrew leans forward, pressing his fists against his lips, you can almost see the gears turning as he clings to his version of events, struggling to suppress a wave of guilt he can't quite shake. Quickly, he shifts the blame onto Garrett and especially his ex-wife, Devin. He describes their relationship as toxic, claiming she's the reason everything went wrong. But in that moment, one thing becomes clear. Beneath it all, Andrew hasn't moved on. Not from the past, not from the guilt, and the detectives know it.
And describe what time you left the hospital.
6 a.m.
And did you think about this the night before?
Yes, all night. I never slept.
But what were you thinking about?
If I do it, I'm probably going away for the rest of my life. I know my kids will be safe. And that was okay to take that risk, and I was going to try and do everything in my power to make sure I didn't get caught. Because I don't want to give up any time with them. Because I love my kids with every fiber of my being.
Right, Andy, but they're going to be there for you.
No, they're not. I know I'm going to go away for a minimum 20, 30 years.
You don't know.
No, I already know that.
We do with these cases a lot, and judges believe in second chances. And they also, remember I talked about mitigating factors? They're not oblivious to the realities of life and things that happen to people that drive them to do things.
I saw my daughter's hand there on the bed with cables strapped to her head. And the only thing I could think of was how vulnerable she's going to be for the rest of her life. With him still on the streets, a piece of paper doesn't protect her life.
No.
A piece of paper doesn't protect him from stabbing her while she's at school, hunting her down, her, finding her when I'm not there. A piece of paper doesn't stop that. And I took away that piece of paper for my own selfishness, because I wanted to get back with her and she told me she would. So I lied to the judge.
You're saying that Devin wanted to get back?
Yes.
You wanted to get back there?
She told me she'd get back. She said if I dropped it, she would definitely get back with me. I said, okay. They didn't even show up. That's how convinced she knew I was going to not say anything. I was going to drop it. They didn't even show up. They slept in that day. They didn't even wake up until noon. Blew up their phone while sitting there waiting, trying to see if they were going to come or not. They already knew what my answer was going to be. Why the f would they show up? She already had convinced me.
Right.
And after I told the judge what I thought, the only thing that filled my heart was hate, remorse, wishing I could run back into that courtroom and tell her I lied. Please put this against him. As long as you can.
She manipulated you.
She has been manipulating me for 2 years. She left me during my second deployment. She was f***ing every guy she could find. Blamed it all on me. Threatened to drop my kids off at a fire station while I'm 3,000 miles away.
It's a horrible thing to do. And your parents aren't even close.
Andrew knew exactly what he'd done, but that didn't stop him from spinning his version of the story, relying on familiar tactics often seen in guilty suspects. As he wove his tale with calculated emotion, using tears and excuses to obscure the truth, his outbursts were nothing more than a facade meant to hide his guilt and manipulate sympathy. Yet his actions contradicted every part of that narrative. What he revealed next, however, would shed light on the gruesome motive behind this heinous crime.
So eventually I just kind of lost it, started imitating being somebody that I wasn't on Facebook, and basically scared her to the point to where she finally decided that, and then she put herself in a situation where she was living with a child beater. And he's probably now convicted. The girl he was with, I wanted to know who he was. I was like, because this is a guy she really liked, and he was giving her a good time and whatnot. I was like, well, that's fine. We can get a divorce, but I want to know who this is. I talked to his ex. The first thing she sent me was a picture of him beating her kid, a 12-month-old, for crying. I forwarded it to her, and she got scared. She said, I don't know what to do. He's living in my house. And I said, well, you need to tell him to leave, and if he doesn't, you're going to call the police. And she did. And then over the next week, she talked to me, and I was like, what do you want to do? She's like, I don't want to live here anymore. I don't feel safe in here anymore. I was like, yeah, you shouldn't. So she was like, well, what are we going to do? I was like, I'd already called my parents. You've got a place to stay. They're driving 8 hours south to come get you. They were willing to do that. Then when she got back, she was more concerned about partying, leaving my newborn daughter downstairs, not telling anybody where she went, just disappearing, 8 hours at a time, leaving the kids locked in a basement, just screaming and crying.
Your mom said she'd get up to get ready for work and Devin would be gone. No idea where she went. Kids would be down there alone.
And I was still in California. There was nothing I could do about it. This was a position she put me in. She took my family away from me, and she seemed awfully happy about it. Came home after, got out of the service. There was a lot of hate that I could feel coming from her. She told me the only thing that would make it work is if we got in a polygamous marriage. But I was okay with that because as long as I got to keep her, that was okay. So I let her manipulate me into a relationship that I never wanted, just because I convinced myself that's what would make me happy. She was more concerned about messaging as many guys on anything she could find than spending time with me. About 3 weeks ago, she finally told me that she had been lying to me for 2 years, that she never loved me, and she only needed a place to stay, and that was the only reason she stuck around. I asked her, what about the kids? And she said, I love them, but I don't love you anymore.
Andrew's constant accusations revealed a deep jealousy and a desperate need for control, both of which gradually unraveled. His confession about their polygamous marriage, along with blaming Devin for being a neglectful mother, pushed the situation into darker and more disturbing territory. What followed would expose a violent, toxic cycle that left even the most experienced detectives unsettled.
So then she met him at BK, and in a matter of 2 days she left. Moved in with him. She was more concerned about taking her dogs than her own children. Previous to that, I had put her in a chokehold because she just kept mentally abusing me. And I had had enough. And I went after her. And I felt horrible about it, because I don't agree with it. I never hit her, never slapped her. I grabbed her 2 legs, I pulled her off the bed, put her in a chokehold, but not enough to do anything, just enough to restrain her. There was no intent to kill, knock out, nothing.
You weren't punishing her in your mind, you weren't, yeah.
I wasn't trying to hurt her. That was the last thing I was trying to do. Do I agree with the way that I handled the situation? No, and I don't think anybody should ever follow in my footsteps. I wish I would have handled it differently and just walked away. She kicked me in the ribs so hard she broke my ribs. She broke a rib. I never went and got saw for it, but I had a floating rib for quite a while. The only thing that got her to make me stop was she took my glasses off my face and just basically turned them into a pretzel. Because I was there, you know, it's not like I was not coherent to what was going on.
Andrew recalls the day he abused his ex-wife with an unsettling calm, describing every detail with chilling precision. His cold, almost clinical manner makes it seem as though he's speaking about someone else's actions, not his own. This detached behavior highlights his sociopathic nature and his lack of any real remorse. As he continues, each new detail brings him closer to his true target, Garrett Macone, revealing just how calculated and cruel he truly is.
So about 3 weeks after that, she meets Garrett. They hit it off immediately. She's so f***ing happy. She's finally got somebody that she can replace me with. And she comes home, starts f***ing screaming at me, and I'm pissed already. I'm screaming at her. And the only thing that she's concerned about is collecting her personal possessions and her f***ing dogs and leaving them. She doesn't care about the kids. She never even asked about them. The kids were sitting on the couch in the living room because I didn't want them in the situation. I didn't want them to hear us yelling. I didn't want us to hear them fight. I hear us fighting anymore. So I made sure that they were somewhere where they were going to be safe. But that entire time, she didn't ask one question about the kids. How are they doing? You know, and then she hadn't been around already. And then I started noticing that Aurora was having these staring spells. And she had a seizure. And it scared the f*** out of me. My sister has had epilepsy since she was like 5. So I know what it looks like. I called an ambulance to come. They checked on her, said her vitals were okay, and they said you can take her in or you don't have to. And I was like, I'm not 100% sure what I saw. So they just opted to keep her there. So then on Friday, I came home from work. I went downstairs and I was playing with her while she was on her bed. She went into a grand mal seizure. Landed face first on the concrete. And started convulsing so hard I thought she was going to rip herself in half. And the only thing I could think about was how much I could have somebody help me right now. And her too, obviously. Told me she's gonna be okay. But at the same time, where the f*** is your mother? Yeah, that's right, she's with the guy who threatened to kill me and you.
From the very start, Andrew carefully crafts a narrative in which he portrays himself as a misunderstood father. However, the detectives quickly notice the cracks. His version of events kept shifting, timelines were inconsistent, and his emotions seemed almost rehearsed. Still, the detectives remained calm, patiently creating a safe space for him to provide details about each event. In the next phase of the interrogation, he reveals what exactly sparked such extreme violence.
What happened before?
Well, I guess it would be yesterday morning, because now well, it's not quite midnight yet.
Not quite. So, there's no clock.
Yeah, it's 20 minutes to 12.
Okay, so this morning, prior to this morning, about 3 a.m., maybe earlier, I don't know, I can't remember. And she told me about how much he wants to beat up on me, and how she holds him back. And I told her, you know what would happen if you tried to do that, right? She just looked at me blankly like she wanted to convince herself that he'd be able to kick my and kill him with my bare hands. And after she told me that, I went into blind rage, because that means that this entire time he's been putting on a show. That was him that said that. He is the one who wants to come after me and my kids, and I'm scared. I convinced myself that the best thing I can do is to eliminate the problem, because there isn't going to be anything that's going to be quick enough. I already took away the restraining order. There's nothing else. My keeper's calling in on him, nothing's going to happen. They're just going to take her word for it. Take his mother's word for it. Except that's not who he is, but it was who he was. He threatened to kill me and my children. I have the papers at home. My mom could drop them off. I kept them because I keep looking at them and torturing myself with them. Because I keep rereading them and trying to believe that's not the person that she chose to be with. But there's nothing else there that shows otherwise. What else is there to show otherwise? He didn't try to prove himself. He didn't even try talking to me about it. Just tried making up sap stories and then went right back to insulting not only her, but me. The fact that he's insulting her is... I couldn't understand that. That she's willing to stay with him, but he's insulting her. Calling her saying how nice it is to have an easy
It's just taunting you.
And eventually he brings up the fact because my wife threatened to call the police for child abduction and kidnapping, and I didn't know that can't happen if you're still married. She had convinced me that it would happen and that I would go to jail for a long time because I kidnapped my own children. So I was staying with friends in Portage when he sent me those messages. It was 3 hours south. I drove 3 hours north that day just to prevent my kids from getting taken away from me. And as soon as I got home, the message I got from him, I'm going to kill you and those kids the next time I see you.
With his motives exposed, the detectives shift their focus to piecing together the murder timeline. Andrew, showing no hesitation, recounts the events of that day in chilling detail, positioning himself as the true victim and claiming that Garrett had threatened to kill both him and his daughter. Yet the seasoned detectives quickly see through his story. They recognize it as a well-rehearsed deflection. Psychologically, Andrew's need to portray himself as the victim, even after taking lives, reveals a deeply distorted mindset. Instead of confronting the consequences of his actions, he rewrites reality to protect his fragile sense of self, a clear indication of malignant narcissism.
So you leave the hospital this morning?
Yep.
At what time?
6 a.m. 6 a.m. I start getting ready to leave.
And what do you do when you leave the hospital?
Grab all my stuff, grab everything that I'm going to need.
Okay.
Started driving down here.
Where'd you go first when you got back?
To my mom and dad's. I wanted to kind of talk myself out of it. Maybe there's another way. Maybe it doesn't need to be this way. I reread that message and I got pissed. That a guilty guy is still walking around. I went downstairs. I grabbed my daughter's clothes. I grabbed my clothes. I grabbed some spare diapers. I grabbed my 9mm. And I hid it so my mom couldn't see it. I went up to my car. I got in it. And I started driving to his place. The entire time I'm doing it, the reason I had mine and my daughter's clothes in there is because if I talked myself out of it, I didn't have to go anywhere else. I could just detour, go to the hospital, let's not do this. I kept thinking about it. Kept trying to talk myself out of it. Maybe there's another way. Maybe it doesn't need to be this way. And I got to his house. I pulled out. And he's the only one that was there.
Where'd you park when you got to his house?
Behind the sheds. So nobody could see the car.
Okay.
I went in the house. And she told me right where they slept. He was sleeping away from the door.
The house door locked?
No.
Was his bedroom door locked?
No. I opened his bedroom door. Came to the back of his head. And in that moment I felt like yelling at him and telling him to just stop and fucking go away. Instead, I just panicked. I was terrified. I pulled the trigger. And I didn't want him to suffer, so I pulled it again.
How many times total?
Just 2.
What happened after the first shot went off?
He was already gone.
Did he move?
No. I put it right through the center of his spinal. Right through the central nervous system.
How close were you to him?
10 yards. Standing by the corner of the door. Because I'd opened his door and I backed away because I wanted to not do it. The more I just stared at him laying there, the more that it pissed me off. That this sack of shit reason I've been having such a hard time. He's threatening to kill me, he's threatening to kill my kids.
So after you shot him the second time, what's he do? What did you do?
I drug him outside.
How did you drag him outside?
By sheet.
The sheet that was on the bed or a different sheet? Then what?
I left. I tried to find my casings. I found one of them.
What was your gun in?
Nothing. My hand.
Just your hand? When you drug him outside by the sheets, what happened to the bed?
I flipped it while I was looking for the casings.
Was he already drug outside at that point and you went back in the house? Did you find the other casing?
No, I didn't find one. I'm assuming you guys found the other.
That's something we can talk about.
If you want to know where it is, I can tell you.
What about the plastic?
I was going to put them in my Jeep. Run away.
Where'd you get the plastic at?
Out of the shop. Nearest to the house.
When you went in the shop, what door did you go in?
The initial one. I was wearing gloves. You won't find any prints except for what are on the shelf.
When you say the initial one, what does that mean?
You come out the door. Right there.
Okay.
And I was wearing gloves. Leather gloves. You won't find any prints. Except for on the shelves.
So when you went back into the house, was the dog out?
Yeah, the dogs were out. They didn't have anything to do with it.
Right. So
They didn't deserve anything.
Right. But they were just out and you left them out?
Yep, I just left them in the way that they were.
When you say you were going to put them in your car, what were you going to do with them?
That's the reason I didn't take them. What was I going to do with them?
So let me back up. I think you already told me, but when you drug him off the bed, where did you grab him to drag
By
him?
his ankles.
You grabbed both ankles, one in each hand, and just headed for the door? And then after he was outside, you came back in?
I brought my Jeep up to the door, and I was going to try and fit him in the back of my car. I knew he would fit, but I don't know. I'd rather they know than who know. Everybody. I'd rather they just know and nobody else has to live with pain of not knowing where he is. There was a mess there, obviously. They would already know that he's probably not with the living. But I didn't want to do that to anybody.
Did you see a cell phone?
Yes.
What did you do with the cell phone?
Smashed it on the floor and I threw it out behind the house into the woods. So it's really weird. So you come out the house, you're facing the street.
Sure.
Take a right. Now you turn 90 degrees.
Yeah.
Turn an additional 90 degrees, now you're facing behind the house. Take 5 steps forward, turn another 90 degrees. It's a great big pine standing there. I whipped it like a frisbee, right to the right-hand side of that. The casing should be about 10 yards to the left.
The case for the phone, you mean?
The casing for
Oh,
the
the
shell.
case for the shell.
Andrew's attempt to cover his tracks unravels with every word. He dragged the body, destroyed evidence, and even planned to flee, yet in the end, he couldn't escape the truth. His warped logic and manipulative behavior began to crumble the moment the detectives turned up the pressure.
And then where did you go after you left there?
Back home.
To your mom's?
I got bloody. I made a mess.
Where are those clothes?
I actually don't know. I knew that I threw them in a dumpster. I don't know. And I apologize.
But between Race Lake and Cumberland, you initially told us, and then
it's between Cumberland and I want to say Clear Lake.
Not Clear Lake?
No, it was a building past Clear Lake. No, I don't know where.
but somewhere along 63 or Highway 8.
So I'll tell you the route I took. You guys can check everything along the way.
Okay.
You'll find my sweatshirt. You'll find my pants.
Okay.
You'll find my shoes.
In
and
one
a towel.
dumpster or somewhere else?
In one dumpster and a towel. It's behind some kind of a, I think, a food factory. Grayish blue in color. Pine trees out front. I think a gas station across the road. I didn't mutilate his body. I didn't do anything to him in that manner. That wasn't why I was there. I was just there to protect my family, nothing more. I wasn't there to degrade him any more than he already had been. I was taking care of a threat. And that was what I viewed him as to me and my children. If I could do it all over again, I wouldn't. I wouldn't be sitting here in cuffs. I'd be home with my epileptic daughter, holding her. At least now I know she's safe. And I want to keep her from her fucking mother, because I fucking despise that woman. Everything she's put me and them kids through, I hate her for it. I'll never go after her in the same manner, ever. Because if I do get a second opportunity, I promise to be the best fucking civilian I can be. I did this out of fear. I did this out of wanting to protect my children and nothing more. It wasn't for revenge, it wasn't for... it was for my own personal gain in a sense, but it was also for my kids. And it wasn't to get her back. It wasn't.
It was to protect your children.
That was all. Because that was all I could think about anymore as I sat there and watched my daughter get hooked up to an EEG. Watch her sit there.
Are you okay with your parents having your kids?
Of course.
That's where you want them?
Yes.
Andrew's chilling admission that he would do it all again offers a raw glimpse into a mind twisted by narcissism and devoid of remorse. He claims self-defense, yet his words ring hollow. This is not the plea of a frightened man. It's the declaration of someone who feels entitled to use violence whenever his control is challenged. By convincing himself that he's always justified, Andrew remains cocooned in his delusion, untouched by guilt. The detectives could see it now. This wasn't about fear. It was driven by something much darker than anyone could ever think.
I don't want them with her parents. I don't want them with her. I want her to hate herself for the rest of her life for everything she's put me and them kids through. And I don't want her away from the kids just for revenge or anything.
She's not a good mother.
She's a terrible mother. And I would never trust her to put the kids before herself. Because she's already proved time and time again that her own personal gain is more important than the kids, where I was the complete opposite. I would give up everything for my kids. And I have. I would do anything for them.
I believe you 100%.
I would continue to work a job I hate for the rest of my life just to make sure they could have a better life than I ever did. Because that's the only thing that ever mattered to me. I always thought it was her, but it never really was. I just wanted help with my kids. I wanted help taking care of them. You know, I wanted a woman who wanted to be a mother.
Did your vehicle actually break down
Yeah.
today? Or did you just take breaks?
No, but both. It feels like the gas pump's going on. Water pump, or whatever.
Sure.
Whatever it is.
Where's the gun at?
It is. Can I use your phone to show you exactly?
You need a map?
Yes. If you can pull up Google Maps and pull up the satellite, I can show you exactly where it is within 5 feet. I can't tell you exactly where it is because I whipped it over a bridge.
What area are we talking about?
Just pull up, if you can just give me a pull up Walgreens and I can go from there. It's not in Rice Lake. It's not in Rice Lake.
Walgreens in Rice Lake?
Yeah, pull up Walgreens in Rice Lake because I'm going to drive out there mentally.
Okay.
On your phone. And I can show you exactly where it is. Is it alright if I stand up?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. So let's orientate ourselves. Which way's north?
Always up. Unless you spin it.
We're gonna go right there.
Okay. Did you walk it down there?
No, I threw it off the bridge.
So it didn't go in the water?
No, see, I heard it hit rocks.
Oh, okay.
That's the only reason I know you'll be able to find it. I heard it hit rocks.
It's on 25 south of 48, just north of 20 and a half.
That's where that is.
Okay. All right.
There's still rounds in the chambers, please be safe.
Thank you.
Not in the chamber, but in the
In
magazine.
the magazine, yeah. Okay.
And I don't know what condition it's in.
Yeah, the magazine may even have fell over.
Yes, so please be careful.
Okay.
I don't want anybody else to get hurt. I don't intend on anybody else to get hurt. Like I said, the only reason I did this was protecting my kids. It's not because I wanted to.
In the one casing you couldn't find, but the other one is by the phone, somewhere by the phone where you chucked it.
The real shift happens when the topic turns to guns. The moment the detectives bring it up, Andrew changes. The tears stop, his voice becomes steady. Suddenly, he's calm and specific, describing exactly where the gun was, as if reading from a script. That emotional flip raises alarm bells. Realizing there's more to uncover, the detectives press further, leading to another chilling revelation.
You chucked them at the same time, or did you throw one after the other? Okay, so it's going to be close.
Yes, the gloves are also with my pants and shoes.
Okay.
They're Marine Corps combat gloves of Wiley X. Tan. With the combat knuckles.
Okay.
The inserts were removed for less drag.
Cigarette?
Gonna be the last one for a while.
No, no.
That was on the south side of the bridge?
North side of the bridge. Did you use some stuff for some cleaning supplies and some towels and stuff while you were there?
No, I just, I had towels set up and I stripped outside the car to ensure that nothing would come in.
Okay.
Wrapped in the towel securely.
Did you go anyplace else in the house? Did you walk through the house at all?
Just to the bathroom to grab towels.
No, nothing out of the kitchen?
No. I wasn't there to do anything. Like I said, I was there for one reason and one reason only. I wasn't there to... I was just there to take care of a threat, in my mind. That was the only reason I was there.
And you knew he would be there alone, too?
Yes.
Yeah.
Did you see any other guns while you were there? Or take
His 22.
Do you want that?
Yes, please, sir.
His 22?
Yes.
And tell me about that.
He had it laying in the left-hand corner of his bedroom. So if you go through his door, it was in the very far corner.
So
which is also something that she lied to me about because she told me that he didn't have any firearms.
So what did you do with the 22?
I threw it on him.
Why did you do that?
Because she lied to me and said that he didn't have any firearms. He had firearms. He had it in his bedroom, and he was more than willing to use it. So it just continues to add up to the fact that she continued to lie to me and manipulate me into giving her what she wanted so she could be happy, even if that meant threatening my children.
dumpster for the clothes, it wasn't at a gas station, but maybe across the road from a gas station. But it was a dumpster, though. It wasn't
An
a
actual
regular
dumpster.
garbage.
What was the name of the sanitation? It had something sanitation on it.
Do you remember what color the dumpster was?
Community
I
center?
believe green. I think so.
Yeah, they have green ones.
I think it was green. It was a weird looking dumpster. Like not your standard blue one where it's tall. It was short and stubby and extra wide. I just figured I'd ask.
And then if there's anything else that you think of that you think is important for us to know, just tell the jailers that you need to speak with either Hagen or Olson.
There isn't anything I can think of.
But I'm saying
It might something.
yeah, and 2 days from now you might think of, hey, you know what else he told me? Or you know what else she told me? Or, oh, I forgot to tell you this is where this is, or something else.
She wants me to die. She made that very apparent. Several times throughout the past since she left me. Since she left me this time, at least 4 or 5 times a week you should go.
That's what she tells you.
Oh yeah. And only once have I ever told her that. And that was the night that I called her about Aurora, needing to go to the cities. And she threatened to drive herself off the road. I told her, do it. And she said, so you want the kids to grow up with a mother? And I told her they already have. They'll get over it.
This projection, attributing his violent impulses to her, allows him to distance himself from his capacity for brutality. In his mind, everything he did became justifiable because she never lived up to the ideal he demanded. Alarmed by this distorted reasoning, the detectives begin combing through his past for signs of psychological disorders or trauma that might explain such deep-seated denial and aggression.
And that's a heck of a thing to say to a guy when she knew your situation when you got together, right? I mean...
She didn't when we got together. I never told her. I finally told her my past when she cheated on me the first time.
Oh.
It was something I kept bottled up and never told anybody.
Your parents knew?
They don't know, and I don't want them to. Please.
No, you tell her. It's not our place.
Thank you. Because I know that because they kept hiring her, even though I tried approaching them about it once, and they didn't believe me. And then they kept hiring her, and I accepted that I wasn't going to get any help. So I gave up and just gave into it. And then that was when the torturing got worse because I said something. But I don't want them to live with that guilt, especially right now. Maybe it's something I can tell them in the future, but I would rather they just not know it all.
Understandable. Do you have any questions for us?
With no other options left, Andrew turns to his past struggles as a shield for the brutality he inflicted on Garrett. Rather than taking responsibility for his actions, he recasts himself as a product of circumstance, doubling down on a victim narrative to protect his ego. The detectives let him speak, confident that within this unguarded stream of excuses, the truth buried beneath his carefully constructed lies would eventually emerge.
I appreciate you guys' hospitality, considering everything.
Well, we're not here to make things more difficult for you. It's already a difficult situation.
I wish I would have gone a different direction, but you know, shoulda, coulda, woulda. Hindsight 2020. I'm sitting here, and
Right.
But now it's the first day of the rest of your life, and you can start putting it behind you.
it's true. And you told me that too. And it's not that I do feel better about letting it all come out. I'm just more pissed at myself because I let it happen. Because as Marines, we're trained to not let this ever happen, to let our capabilities never be thrown in the wrong manner. In my mindset, I was doing something that was just protecting the ones that I loved the most. And that's probably how I will view it for quite some time. But she's also made me a better person too. Because nobody else was there to step up for the kids. And that made me dig down deep as a man and realize what was the most important thing to me, really. What was the most important thing to me. And it was my little boy and my little girl.
Right.
I got my boy's name tattooed on me. I wanted to get it finished, but I ain't gonna have it for quite some time. I still need to get hers. But I ain't gonna have it for a while. My son's favorite thing is, he loves police vehicles and ambulances, and so does she. Whenever they hear one coming down the road, they sprint to the window. They go, "Dad, there's a wee wheel. Dad, there's a wee wheel." They admire you guys. They love you guys. His favorite toys are Hot Wheels. Every time I ever go to the store with him, since they're so cheap, I really don't care about money when it comes to that perspective. Like one or two. Every time. Every time. No questions asked. I don't care how much money I get. If it's going to put me in debt, whatever, I grab him 2 Hot Wheels. I think that kid's got at least 150 Hot Wheels. My daughter's favorite thing, any kind of a stuffed animal. Loves stuffed animals. A good friend of mine gave me 2 5-foot-tall teddy bears. And I gave those to her for her to sleep with because she used to like to cuddle with her mom. And when Mom stepped out, she had a hard time sleeping.
Oh.
So I got those teddy bears, and she started cuddling with those. She was a lot more comfortable sleeping at night. She didn't have anybody else. I'd let her try and sleep with me, but she didn't want to be with me at the moment. She wanted her mother. But Mother stepped out. Mother didn't care about her.
Right.
She only cared about herself and what made her happy, and not her own children. And that's the biggest difference between me and her, is I would always choose my children's happiness over my own. And I asked her, would she do that? And she said, and her response to it was, "So you're asking me to make myself unhappy so the kids can be happy?" And I said, "Well, yeah." And she said, "Well, I don't want to do that." Those were her exact words. "I don't want to do that." Yes, please, sir.
All right. Andy, we appreciate you sitting down with us.
You did the right thing.
You did the right thing.
No matter how hard he tries to portray himself as a victim, the evidence tells a far more damning story. Andrew didn't simply lose control, he orchestrated every move. He tracked Garrett Macone's routine, armed himself with intent, and executed his plan with chilling precision. This wasn't a crime of passion, it was calculated, deliberate, and driven by jealousy. And now, with his confession sealing his fate, there is no escaping the weight of justice. In September 2020, Garrett Macone's life was tragically cut short, and Andrew Brunette was quickly arrested for his murder. His trial began on November 2021, and within days, the jury found him guilty. In January 2022, he was sentenced to life in prison, with eligibility for parole in 50 years, taking into account time already served. Garrett Macone's murder stands as a tragic reminder of how toxic relationships, fueled by jealousy and manipulation, can spiral into something far more dangerous. This case underscores a deeper issue: how unchecked emotional turmoil can drive people to deadly extremes. It's a harsh reality, but one that cannot be ignored. Recognizing the warning signs early isn't just important, it could save a life. What are your thoughts on this chilling case? Let us know in the comments below. And don't forget to subscribe to our channel for more true crime stories and in-depth breakdowns.